Hi guys, so this is my final video here in Dumaguete. I'm at the Henry Resort. This has been the home of many of my vlogs for the last few years now. That and poolside of my house. When you watch this video, I'll already be gone. Stick around for my final thoughts about Dumaguete. Hi guys, so as many of you know, I lived here in Dumaguete now twice. In fact, I've lived in Davao twice, in Cebu twice. Different locations every time for all of those cities. But Dumaguete, the first time around, I kind of got locked down here. I arrived, I want to say around October of like 2019, and then I was hanging out. I was having a good time, but I was actually ready to move on. I was actually going to be moving to Malaysia at that time. My channel was not even really profitable at that point, and I was still teaching English. And I was going to be moving to Malaysia and teaching English. Well, boom, pandemic started. And I ended up getting to a relationship, as my longtime viewers know, and I call that kind of a pandemic relationship. We were kind of a couple of situations. We were kind of brought together, and we really weren't going to really do anything more than date, but the pandemic happened, and next thing you know, we're in a relationship for a year. Pandemic started to lift, and I decided to move on. Second time around, after I had lived in various places, Davao, Cebu, came back here, and again, just kind of visiting friends. Dumaguete was never ever really my favorite place to live for various reasons. And this time I met Maya, and of course, Maya became my wife, and ended up staying here. But as far as Dumaguete, for a lot of people, Dumaguete is going to check a lot of boxes. Dumaguete has, if you want to be up in cooler weather, you got the mountains of Valencia. If you want to kind of the beach lifestyle, you got Darwin. If you want a little bit of a city life, kind of more metropolitan, you got, within Dumaguete City. There is an airport. It does do Cebu, Manila, and now Iloilo flights. And it does have a ferry, which has various locations throughout the Philippines. Dapitan and Mindanao, Siquijor, Bohol, Cebu City, different ones. And you can even take a ferry directly across to go to South Cebu rather quickly. So as far as being central, it's very good. It's actually pretty well protected from things like natural disasters. You don't really get earthquakes here. You get some tremors from another earthquake that happened maybe over in Mindanao. It's not really affected too much by typhoons. It's pretty well protected. And so for a lot of people, Dumaguete can be great. For me, I like other cities more. I like condo living. I've already discussed this to death. I like condo living, especially even more so now with all my traveling that I plan on doing. I need someplace I can lock the door and go away for a month and feel confident that my stuff is secure, and I do with a condo. At an apartment or renting a house in Dumaguete, I don't really feel that. In fact, we've had break-ins actually not that long ago at my apartment complex. Some of the things that I don't like about Dumaguete that I'm looking for in other places: one, are good condos. Two, I do like to have more amenities as far as like landers and SNR. You get that in Davao, you get that in Iloilo, you get that in Cebu, you get that in Bacolod, other locations, Manila. But in Dumaguete, you really have just a couple of small places that have expat goods or imported goods, like Belchris, Lorenzo's, the Why Not's got a very small selection. So you can get some stuff, but you certainly can't do all your shopping. But when you go into a big warehouse store like Landers or S&R, then you have all kinds of different options: meats and ice creams and just various goods from the US and Australia and other places. Another thing is public transportation. I don't always like to drive my motorbike. In fact, at nighttime, I hate driving my motorbike, especially in Dumaguete. There's so many people drive without headlights, or they've been drinking, dogs running out in the street, kids running out in the street, chickens, goats, you name it. It's just running out into the street. There's a huge stray dog problem in Dumaguete. We have so many stray dogs across the street from where I live. And the owner of the house across the street has so many dogs in these small little cages, and they never go out of the cage. I think he's got 10, 15 dogs, and he keeps them locked up. Doesn't give them exercise or anything. And I feel really bad about that because I am a dog lover. But these stray dogs, he feeds them, so they all congregate. And when they come to his area with all his dogs locked up in cages, well, his dogs all start barking. I think the stray dogs have a better life than his locked up dogs, to be honest, even though they got mange and everything else. A lot of the cities, you'll see a bit more animal control. You don't see as many packs of raving dogs going around the streets. Dumaguete's starting to get a lot of homeless. You can't even walk on the boulevard now without the, they call them bajau, just constantly pestering you for money. And so you can't even enjoy a walk on the boulevard. There's no taxis per se. There's no, other than jeepneys and tricycle. In fact, the last count I heard was well over 2,000 tricycles in Dumaguete. That's just tricycles. And now you have where Filipinos can now get cars. Before, it was basically only the rich. You had to have the money to buy the car. Now they have the financing. Everywhere's got the financing. I mean, even Mark Thornton, Every Man Has a Story, had financed his vehicle. And so you got these foreigners financing, you got Filipinos, and so you have all these cars now on the road. Some people getting 2 cars. I know quite a few Filipinos and even foreigners here that have multiple cars. Now we're getting to be like the States here. Everybody, you need a couple cars. You got motorbikes, you got 2,000 plus tricycles, you got jeepneys, you got these crazy buses and the V-hires. And in Dumaguete, the roads, it just takes a car to move a little bit to the side or a truck to come through, and it kicks up unbelievable amounts of dust. When I get home, I gotta wipe my face off with a cloth, and it's black. It's disgusting. And a lot of the city life, you don't really worry about that because you don't have all this dirt and dust. So that's another thing I don't like. I don't like that there's no public transportation. These tricycles, you really have no choice. If you want to get point A to point B, you have to take this. Now, Cebu and Davao and other places, Bacolod, now have these air-conditioned little mini buses for like 15 pesos. You can run around the city in them. And the routes are very easy, you know, to follow usually. The abundance of foreigners, I'm seeing more and more crime, not with Filipino against foreigners or I'm seeing foreigner against foreigner. All kinds of things have happened in the last few years that has really surprised me. And I don't know if it's just because it's a variety of different nations altogether, but actually it's very common, American against American. And, you know, I've heard of, there was not long ago, a group of foreigners had broke into this guy's house carrying a gun, trying to shoot him. And they all ended up in jail, and I don't know what happened after that. Just all kinds of different things, you know, happening. And so I prefer to be in a place with less foreigners. I want condo life. I want more amenities. I want a more centralized hub where I can travel easier, even though Dumaguete is pretty good. And because of the amount of foreigners, I have noticed that the prices are increasing. When I first came to Dumaguete, you could get a decent place for 15K, 20K. Now, that does not get you a decent place at all. In fact, you got to be around the 30K mark. Now, there's guys out there that may comment and say, hey, I found a great place for 20 or 25. So there are still some places, but it's harder and harder. The really good places go very, very quickly. And so it's getting harder to find a place. It really is. And the prices have gone up because of the amount of foreigners. So yeah, those are some of the reasons. I'm not fleeing from Dumaguete because of the Maya breakup. In fact, we're on good terms, as good of terms as you can be for, you know, ending it. But I really just want to be somewhere better, better for me. Again, there's a lot of people who will still like Dumaguete. Some people find comfort in large groups of foreigners because they can create friendships and different things. And it is harder when you go off on your own to a city where it doesn't really have a lot of foreigners, and you gotta try to make friends with, and there's really, you barely see them. So it can be hard. And a lot of people, again, like I said, they find comfort in going to a place with a lot of foreigners where they can really kind of connect with different people. And it is good for that. But for me, I like to be kind of away from foreigners. Not to say when expats reach out and they say, hey, Gio, I've watched your channel. You want to grab a cup of coffee? I'm always usually more than willing, as long as I have the time for it. On a day-to-day basis, just loads of foreigners. I prefer to kind of live in a city where I am a bit more unique. I don't even know if that's the right word, not unique, but they don't judge us as a whole. You know, sometimes in Dumaguete, I feel like they kind of judge all. You get the bad deeds of some foreigners, and they kind of judge us all. They clump us all together and judge us all like from the actions of some bad apples. And I feel like when you go into a city where there's not many foreigners, you're really judged more independently. And so that's one thing that I do like. So again, last video from Dumaguete, guys. The next videos you will see will be in my new location coming up in just a few days, guys. I know a lot of people speculated, most are wrong about where I'm going to end up. Some are right. I did give a hint about the 4 places that it's going to be: Cebu, Mactan, Newtown, Iloilo, Bacolod, or Davao. That's what I narrowed it down to. So thank you, guys. This is it from Dumaguete. And I really don't even see myself really visiting, to be honest. I don't want to say never, because I might. But anyway, thanks, guys, for watching. Thanks for being part of my community. Over this ordeal going on with me, I've seen a big increase in views and watch time, subscriber count, everything. So I really appreciate people kind of supporting me and following me on my continued journeys here in the Philippines. It'll be as a single guy. I think I've pretty much told myself that marriage is just not for me. And I probably would say it's probably more me. I've just discovered a lot about myself that I'm not really, I don't know if I'm really a relationship type guy. I'm just probably not. I'll end it with that. Thank you, guys. I'll see everyone soon from a new location. Ciao.